Ancient monuments around the world hold a secret alignment with the cosmos. This video uncovers 20 incredible structures perfectly oriented to solstices and planetary paths, revealing a global language of stone and sky. You will learn exactly how civilizations from the deserts of Egypt to the mountains of Peru built these celestial calendars, and why their precision still challenges our understanding of history. How did cultures separated by oceans independently develop such advanced astronomical knowledge? And what profound truth about our connection to the universe did they encode into their architecture? Have you ever looked at the night sky and wondered about your place in its grand design? To build a monument that speaks with the cosmos, you first need to understand its language. The sun does not simply rise and set in the same place each day. Throughout the year, it travels along a path, reaching its northernmost point at the summer solstice, which gives us the longest day, and its southernmost point at the winter solstice, the shortest day. Twice a year at the equinoxes, it rises directly due east and sets due west, perfectly balancing the length of day and night. But ancient sky watchers looked beyond our sun. They tracked the wandering planets, noting their predictable loops and cycles against the backdrop of fixed stars. This was not casual observation. It required complex mathematics and generations of meticulous record-keeping to predict these celestial events with the accuracy we see etched in stone. Some cultures even grasped the grandest clock of all, the precession of the equinoxes, a slow wobble in Earth's axis that completes one cycle every 26,000 years. This knowledge was woven into the very fabric of their societies. A solstice sunrise might signal the time to plant crops, a matter of survival. Yet it also held a deeper spiritual meaning, connecting the rhythm of human life to the eternal order of the universe. With this foundation of celestial mechanics, the silent stones of the ancient world begin to tell their true story. This celestial knowledge was never just about counting days. It was a profound dialogue between humanity and the heavens, a conversation shaped by the unique beliefs of every culture. For the Egyptians, the sun god Ra's journey across the sky was a daily drama of death and rebirth, a cycle mirrored in the pharaoh's own divine authority. Their pyramids and temples were not mere tombs but resurrection machines, designed to catch the first ray of the solstice sun and flood the inner sanctum with the light of renewed life. Half a world away, the Maya watched the same sky and saw a story of inevitable cyclical time. Their cosmos was a grand, ticking clock of creation and destruction, where the movements of Venus and the sun had to be meticulously tracked and appeased through ritual. A temple aligned to a solstice sunset was not just a calendar, it was a plea to the gods, an attempt to ensure the cycle would continue and the world would not fall back into darkness. In ancient China, the emperor's right to rule was considered a mandate from heaven, and celestial events were the ultimate report card. A perfectly predicted eclipse or a planetary alignment could legitimize a dynasty, while an unexpected comet was a dire warning of heavenly displeasure. Their astronomical observatories were instruments of state power, and alignments built into imperial architecture were a public declaration that the emperor was in harmony with the cosmos itself. Meanwhile, across the moors and forests of Europe, Celtic traditions perceived the solstices as powerful, thin times. These were moments when the veil between the human world and the spirit world grew faint, when the sun stood still at the limits of its path, creating a doorway. Their stone circles, like Stonehenge, were not just for marking the longest day, but for conducting ceremonies at this sacred threshold, a place to communicate with the other side. Despite these vastly different interpretations, the architectural response was strikingly similar. A doorway frames the rising sun, a corridor channels the light of a star, a pyramid's shadow touches a distant marker. This shared heritage of building in concert with the sky tells us something fundamental. Our ancestors from every corner of the globe independently felt the same compelling need to anchor their lives, their power, and their faith to the reliable rhythms of the universe. They looked up, found patterns, and sought to build their place within them. There on the Salisbury Plain, a single massive stone stands guard outside the main circle. This is the heel stone, and for an observer positioned at the very center of Stonehenge, it creates a breathtaking spectacle. On the morning of the summer solstice, the sun appears to rise directly from the top of this ancient sentinel, its light flooding through the monument's heart. This axis is no accident. The entire arrangement is precisely oriented so that the summer solstice sunrise occurs over the heel stone, while in the opposite direction, the winter solstice sun sets perfectly between the grand trilithons. This created a durable, year-long solar calendar built from sarsen stones, marking the passage of the seasons with unerring accuracy. But the sun was only part of the story. The smaller blue stones, transported from great distances, hold their own cosmic secret. Researchers now believe these stones align with the moon's most extreme rising and setting points, events known as lunar standstills. Unlike the sun's yearly cycle, the moon's path takes a much longer 18.6 years to complete its slow dance across the horizon. To mark this long cycle in stone implies not just years, but decades of continuous, precise observation. Even more remarkably, the circle of Aubrey holes that surrounds the monument may have served as a predictive calculator. By moving markers between these pits in time with the moon's movements, the builders could have tracked the complex patterns that lead to eclipses. This transforms our view of Stonehenge from a simple solar calendar into a comprehensive astronomical machine. It synthesized the cycles of both the sun and the moon into one unified design, a Stone Age computer that could predict some of the sky's most dramatic events. The sheer scale of this project, demanding knowledge passed down through generations, reveals a society deeply and permanently in conversation with the cosmos. While Stonehenge stands open to the sky, another ancient wonder captures the sun in a far more intimate embrace. Deep within the rolling green hills of Ireland's Boyne Valley lies Newgrange, a massive, grass-covered mound that is, in fact, a 5,200-year-old passage tomb. This structure is older than Stonehenge, older even than the Great Pyramids of Egypt, and at its heart lies one of the most precise and beautiful solar alignments ever created. Above the entrance, a small, rectangular opening known as the roof box was engineered with astonishing care. For the entire year, the inner chamber remains in deep, perpetual darkness. But for a few precious days around the winter solstice, something magical happens. As the sun crests the horizon on the shortest day of the year, a single, narrow beam of golden light slips through this roof box. It travels down the long, 19-meter passageway, a corridor built just for this sliver of light, until it finally reaches the central chamber. There, for approximately 17 minutes, it illuminates ancient, spiraling carvings on the far wall, flooding the sacred space with a warm, otherworldly glow. This was no happy accident. The roof box was a masterpiece of Neolithic engineering, specifically angled to capture the sun at its very lowest point in the sky. It acts as a perfect filter, allowing this one sacred beam to enter while meticulously excluding all other light throughout the rest of the year. The entire monument becomes a cosmic timepiece that ticks just once annually. And what does that light reveal? The chamber walls are covered in intricate spirals and concentric circles, patterns that may represent the sun itself, or perhaps the endless cycles of life, death, and rebirth. In that moment of illumination, the deepest, darkest chamber of the dead is momentarily united with the power of the reborn sun. This connection was surely the heart of its meaning. For the people who built it, the winter solstice was not an end but a turning point, a promise that the light would return and life would continue. Newgrange stands as a powerful testament to a society that, at the very dawn of civilization, possessed not only the technical skill to engineer such a phenomenon, but also the profound spiritual desire to weave the fate of their ancestors directly into the fabric of the cosmos. That same desire to make the cosmos visible animates a pyramid far across the Atlantic, where a stone serpent descends from the heavens. At the ancient Mayan city of Chichen Itza, the Pyramid of Kukulkan stages a dramatic spectacle twice a year. On the spring and autumn equinoxes, as the sun begins to set, a remarkable transformation occurs. The stepped corners of the pyramid cast a series of 7 distinct triangular shadows down the northern staircase. These shadows of light and dark interlock, creating the undulating body of a giant feathered serpent that appears to slither down from the temple at the summit, its stone head waiting at the base of the balustrade. For approximately 45 minutes, this brilliant optical illusion of a descending god captivates all who witness it, a true fusion of architectural genius and deep astronomical intent. But the pyramid is far more than a stage for this biannual light show. Its very structure is a mathematical expression of time. Each of its 4 sides has 91 steps. When you add the single shared platform at the very top, you get a total of 365, one for each day of the solar year. This was a building that literally counted the days. The alignments run even deeper than the sun. Mayan astronomers, who were unparalleled sky watchers, also designed the pyramid's orientation to correspond with the appearances of Venus. They associated this bright, wandering planet with their deity Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god of wisdom and wind. So when the shadows form and the serpent seems to move, it is not just a representation of the sun's position. It is the embodiment of a planet, a god, and a calendar, all converging in a single, breathtaking moment. This was the Mayan genius, integrating multiple, complex celestial cycles into one unified structure that served as a temple, an observatory, and a divine proclamation of their harmony with the universe. High in the cloud-shrouded Andes, the stone terraces of Machu Picchu cling to a mountain ridge, a city designed not just for its people, but for the sky itself. Here, the Incas engineered their entire world to resonate with celestial cycles. At the heart of this sacred observatory stands the Intihuatana stone, a granite pillar carved directly from the mountain peak. Its name translates to the hitching post of the sun, and it functions with breathtaking simplicity. On the equinoxes, the stone casts no shadow at all, as if the sun is perfectly tethered to the earth. During the solstices, however, the shadow it casts is long and distinct, marking the sun's farthest journey. These were not abstract astronomical events. They were the critical signals for planting and harvesting in a challenging mountain environment, a direct line from the cosmos to the community's survival. This stone was the axis around which their agricultural year turned. Just a short walk away, the semi-circular Temple of the Sun offers another layer of precision. Its 2 trapezoidal windows are not placed at random. One is perfectly oriented to frame the rising sun on the June solstice, the shortest day of the year in the southern hemisphere. The other captures the setting sun on the December solstice. Within this temple, light itself becomes a sacred architect, marking the sun's turning points with unwavering accuracy. But the Incan vision extended beyond the sun to the very shape of the land. The massive sacred rock, a low altar, is carved to perfectly mirror the silhouette of the mountain, Yanantin, that rises directly behind it. During specific solar events, the alignment of rock and mountain creates a profound unity, a declaration that the earthly and the heavenly are one and the same. Perhaps most remarkably, recent research points to alignments with the stars, specifically the Pleiades cluster. The Incas called this group the Seven Kids, and its appearance in the night sky was intimately linked to the coming of rain and the health of the harvest. To build windows or sightlines that track this distant star cluster reveals a long-term, generational understanding of the heavens. Every element of Machu Picchu, from a single carved stone to the orientation of an entire temple, was part of a single, coherent philosophy. The Incas did not see themselves as separate from nature or the cosmos. They built their city as a living part of an interconnected system, where human activity, the towering mountains, and the movements of the sun and stars all moved in a single, harmonious rhythm. This same principle of cosmic alignment finds its ultimate expression in the desert sands of Egypt. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as a testament to engineering on an almost unimaginable scale, yet its most subtle secrets are written in the language of the stars. Its four sides are oriented with breathtaking accuracy to the four cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. The margin of error is a mere 3/60ths of a single degree, a level of precision that would challenge modern builders and seems almost impossible for its time. This was not just about geometric perfection. It was about anchoring the pharaoh's eternal resting place to the fundamental axis of the world itself. But the celestial connections reach deep into the pyramid's heart. Within the king's chamber, narrow shafts, often called air shafts, pierce through the massive stone blocks. For a long time, their purpose was a mystery. We now understand they were not for ventilation but for stargazing. One of these shafts points directly toward the constellation of Orion, specifically its belt. In Egyptian mythology, Orion was associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife and rebirth. Another shaft aimed precisely at the North Polar Star of that era, a star called Alpha Draconis, which held its position in the sky around 2500 BCE. These were not random sightlines. They were spiritual conduits designed to project the soul of the deceased pharaoh directly to his celestial counterparts among the imperishable stars. The sun's power was also woven into this design. On the days of the equinox, a fascinating solar phenomenon occurs. As the sun sets, its light illuminates one face of the pyramid while casting the opposite side into deep shadow. The effect creates a perfect division of light and dark, a visual representation of the balance between day and night that the equinox itself signifies. So what was the Great Pyramid's true purpose? It was far more than a tomb. It was a resurrection machine and a permanent astronomical instrument. It connected the pharaoh to the sun god Ra in his daily cycle and to the star gods in the eternal night sky. It was a declaration in stone that the cosmic order, the harmony of the universe, was mirrored in the power and divinity of the king, ensuring his legacy would endure as long as the stars themselves. Across the world, in the dense Cambodian jungle, the sprawling temple of Angkor Wat was designed as a perfect model of the cosmos. This entire complex is a breathtaking architectural map of Hindu mythology, where every tower and causeway corresponds to a celestial body. At its heart, the central tower aligns with the spring equinox sunrise in a spectacle of divine timing. As the sun crests the horizon, it appears to precisely crown the temple's highest peak, a moment of powerful symbolism that unites the king with the sun god. But the cosmic mirroring runs far deeper than this single day. The entire layout of the temple's 5 central towers is believed to be a terrestrial map of the constellation Draco as it appeared in the sky during the temple's founding in the 12th century. Each tower pinpoints a key star, while the long causeways act as the lines connecting them, effectively building the heavens in stone upon the earth. This was not a vague inspiration but a precise, intentional recreation of the night sky at a specific moment in history, freezing a celestial pattern in perpetual stone. The alignments continue to play with light throughout the year. During the winter solstice, sunlight is channeled through specific doorways and windows, projecting beams that illuminate inner sanctums and carvings in patterns that likely marked sacred ceremonial dates. The entire temple is surrounded by a vast moat, representing the primordial cosmic ocean of Hindu belief, while the central towers rise as Mount Meru, the sacred mountain at the very center of the universe. Angkor Wat was not merely a place of worship, it was a functioning cosmic diagram. It allowed its builders and priests to walk through a miniature version of their universe, demonstrating a profound belief that the order of the heavens could, and should, be replicated on Earth to maintain harmony between the human and divine realms. Far from the stone temples of the Old World, a different kind of celestial calendar rose from the fertile floodplains of the Mississippi River. At its peak around 1050 CE, Cahokia was a bustling metropolis, larger than London was at the same time, and its sky watchers engineered a sophisticated relationship with the cosmos using wood and earth. The centerpiece of their astronomical practice was Woodhenge, a series of massive cedar posts arranged in vast circles. From a central observation post, the alignments were unmistakable. On the equinoxes, the sun would rise directly over one specific post, perfectly balancing day and night. During the solstices, the sun would appear to crown other posts, marking the sun's farthest travels north and south. This was a living, functional solar calendar that told the community precisely when to plant, when to harvest, and when to prepare for the changing seasons. But the people of Cahokia looked beyond the sun. The colossal Monk's Mound, the largest earthen pyramid north of Mexico, holds a lunar secret. Its front terrace aligns with the maximum northern moonrise, an event that only occurs once every 18.6 years. Tracking this long, slow cycle required generations of patient observation and record-keeping. How did this astronomical knowledge function in daily life? The evidence suggests it was the very foundation of social order. The rulers of Cahokia, who lived atop Monk's Mound, likely used their ability to predict celestial events to schedule essential agricultural work and orchestrate grand religious ceremonies. When a priest could stand before the people and announce the exact day the sun would begin its return, or when the moon would reach its extreme, it demonstrated a powerful divine connection. This control over the cosmic calendar reinforced their authority, proving they were the essential intermediaries between the people and the forces that governed their world. The sheer sophistication of Cahokia's alignments completely reshapes our understanding of North America's ancient past. This was not a simple, isolated village, but a highly organized, spiritually complex civilization with a deep and practical mastery of celestial mechanics, a culture that built its heartbeat in sync with the rhythms of the sky. Perched on a barren Peruvian hilltop, 13 stone towers stand in a silent, precise line. This is Chankillo, a 2,300-year-old solar calendar that turns the entire horizon into a timekeeping device. From two carefully chosen observation points, one to the east and one to the west, the towers create an artificial toothed skyline against the rising and setting sun. Throughout the year, the sun's position slides from one end of this line to the other. On the June solstice, the sun rises at the far right of the towers. Day by day, its rising point shifts leftward, moving along the jagged profile until it reaches the far left tower at the December solstice. Then it reverses its journey. From the western observation point, the same meticulous dance is tracked with the sunsets, creating a complete, year-long cycle of observation. The precision is astounding, allowing an observer to determine the date within just 2 or 3 days. This was not a ceremonial alignment used only for a single dramatic moment. It was a functional, practical calendar, a public timepiece for an entire society. Imagine a community where anyone, by simply walking to the correct viewing platform, could know precisely when to plant their crops, when the rainy season would begin, or when to hold a vital festival. The towers removed all guesswork, transforming the abstract movement of the sun into a clear, visible, and democratic tool. This complex predates the famous Inca sites by well over 1,000 years, forcing us to reconsider the timeline of astronomical sophistication in the Americas. It reveals a culture with a deep, practical need to sync their lives with the solar cycle, and the genius to build that cycle directly into the landscape itself. The stone at Abu Simbel performs a miracle of light twice a year. Carved directly into a mountainside, the Great Temple of Ramses II extends 60 meters deep into the rock. For most of the year, its inner sanctuary remains shrouded in a profound and holy darkness. Then, around February 22nd and October 22nd, a beam of sunlight enters the temple doorway. It travels across the vast hall through a second chamber and pierces the full 60-meter depth of the mountain to strike the back wall of the sanctuary. There, it illuminates 3 of the 4 seated statues, bathing the figures of the sun gods Amun-Ra and Ra-Horakhti, and the deified pharaoh Ramses himself in a brilliant, otherworldly glow. The 4th statue, the god Ptah, remains deliberately, perfectly in the shadows. Ptah was associated with the underworld and darkness, and the engineers calculated the angle of the sun with such precision that the light honors the solar deities while respectfully leaving the god of darkness in his proper realm. This was not just a happy alignment. The chosen dates are believed to mark the king's birthday and his coronation day, directly linking the renewal of the sun's power with the legitimacy and eternal cycle of the pharaoh's own rule. The entire temple becomes a divine proclamation, a piece of state propaganda written in sunlight, demonstrating that the pharaoh was literally illuminated by the same force that powered the gods. This celestial theater was so perfectly engineered that when the entire temple complex was painstakingly cut into massive blocks and moved to higher ground in the 1960s to escape the rising waters of Lake Nasser, modern engineers faced an incredible challenge. They had to reassemble the entire structure, a million-ton puzzle, and preserve this precise solar alignment. Through meticulous calculation, they succeeded. Today, the sun still penetrates the mountain on those 2 sacred days, a testament to both ancient vision and modern dedication. This solar miracle reveals the ultimate purpose of such alignments. They were tools of power and faith, designed to create an unforgettable spectacle that cemented a ruler's divine right in the minds of the people, proving their destiny was written in the very movements of the heavens. Long before the pyramids cast their shadows, the Mnajdra temples were already in deep conversation with the sky. On the small Mediterranean island of Malta, a complex of stone structures built over 5,000 years ago holds some of humanity's oldest known celestial alignments. The lower temple, a series of semicircular chambers built from massive limestone blocks, acts as a sophisticated Stone Age observatory. During the equinoxes, the first light of dawn passes directly through its main doorway, flooding the central axis with a beam that travels deep into the sacred space, perfectly dividing the interior. This was not a vague or approximate effect. It was a precise geometric event engineered into the very foundation of the building. But the builders did not stop with the balance of the equinoxes. They also encoded the sun's extreme turning points. At the winter solstice, the rising sun aligns with the southern temple's entrance, its rays striking specific carved markers inside. During the summer solstice, the eastern temple captures the sunrise, with sunbeams illuminating distinct megaliths to create light patterns that shift with the seasons. Each alignment served as an unerring signal, marking the passage of time not in days, but in the grand, cyclical rhythm of the year. This precision, achieved millennia before Stonehenge, reveals a Neolithic society with a sophisticated, long-term understanding of solar cycles. How did they accumulate this knowledge without written records? The answer lies in generations of patient observation, watching the sun's slow migration along the horizon year after year, century after century, until its patterns were so deeply understood they could be set in stone, literally. The temples were undoubtedly centers of powerful ceremony, places where the community gathered to witness these cosmic events, yet they were also profoundly practical. The winter solstice marked the return of the sun and the promise of renewed growth, a signal to prepare for the planting season. The equinoxes could have indicated times for harvest or seasonal migrations. These stone calendars transformed abstract celestial mechanics into a reliable guide for survival, seamlessly weaving the sacred and the mundane into a single, coherent system. The people of Malta did not see a division between their spiritual beliefs and their daily needs, between the temple and the field. For them, the cosmos was a living partner, and their architecture was the language through which they spoke with it. The precision of Chankillo's solar calendar finds a planetary counterpart in the Mayan city of Uxmal. Here, the governor's palace stands as a monument not to the sun, but to a single, brilliant wanderer in the night sky. Its entire design is a masterwork of celestial engineering, oriented with astonishing care toward the cycles of Venus, while the rest of the city's grand structures follow a conventional alignment. The palace is deliberately rotated 27 degrees off that grid. This was not an architectural error, but a calculated decision of profound importance. The central doorway frames the southernmost point on the horizon where Venus would set during its complex 8-year cycle, a cycle meticulously tracked by Mayan astronomers. From this exact spot, an observer around the year 750 would have witnessed the planet descend directly over a small, man-made pyramid atop a distant hill, a perfect alignment of architecture, landscape, and planet. This was a viewing station for a cosmic event that unfolded over nearly a decade. The palace itself is a canvas of this devotion. Its 320-foot-long facade is adorned with hundreds of intricate stone mosaics, many of them symbolizing Venus and other cosmological motifs. For the Maya, Venus was far more than a beautiful star. It was a deity, a harbinger of both creation and conflict. Its appearances carefully watched to determine the most auspicious times for war, for ceremony, and for the coronation of kings. To build the seat of their political power around the orbit of a single planet reveals a civilization that did not merely watch the sky, but wove its patterns directly into the fabric of their governance and identity. The governor's palace is a permanent record of that belief, a declaration that true authority was measured by one's harmony with the cosmos. While the Pyramid of Kukulkan captures the sun for dramatic effect, another structure at Chichen Itza reveals the true depth of Mayan astronomical science. The Caracol Observatory, with its unique circular tower and winding staircase, stands apart from every other building in the city. Its very name, El Caracol, means the snail, a reference to the spiral stairs within, and it functions as a precise instrument for watching the wanderers of the sky. Unlike temples designed for public ceremony, this was a working observatory, a laboratory of stone where Mayan priests decoded the complex movements of planets. Its narrow, slit-like windows were not built for letting in light, but for creating precise sightlines to the horizon. One of these windows frames the extreme northern setting point of Venus, while another captures its farthest journey to the south. The Maya did not just watch this planet, they worshipped it, and their Dresden Codex contains detailed tables predicting its appearances with an accuracy that would not be matched in Europe for centuries. But their vision extended beyond Venus. Other apertures in the Caracol's walls align with the setting sun on the equinoxes and the summer solstice, integrating the solar calendar into this single, multi-purpose tower. There is compelling evidence that certain sightlines were also engineered to track the slower, more distant planets, Mars and Jupiter, to track multiple celestial bodies, each moving at its own unique pace, required a radical architectural design. The circular form provided multiple viewing angles from a single platform, and the different levels allowed priests to observe various events throughout the year. This was the pinnacle of Mayan astronomical architecture, a building that did not just mark the sky but actively studied it. Within these walls, generations of sky watchers gathered the data that allowed them to predict planetary loops and the timing of eclipses, wielding a knowledge of cosmic cycles that gave them unparalleled authority over their world. Buried for millennia beneath a German field, the Goseck Circle waited patiently for its story to be told. Discovered only in 1991 through aerial photography, this simple ring of earth and wood is one of Europe's most ancient observatories, built nearly 7,000 years ago. That is more than 2,000 years older than Stonehenge. Its design is deceptively straightforward, a set of concentric circular ditches surrounded by a wooden palisade with 3 gates. But from the precise center of the circle, these gates transform into sophisticated astronomical instruments. The southeastern and southwestern gates are not placed at random. They frame the rising and setting sun on the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. For a people living in a cold climate dependent on the land, this was a moment of profound importance. From the center, an observer would watch the sun rise within the narrow opening of one gate, travel its low arc across the sky, and then see it set perfectly within the opposite gate. The entire structure was a giant caliper, measuring the sun's most extreme southern journey with stunning accuracy. Beyond marking the solstices, other post holes suggest the circle also tracked the equinoxes and the summer solstice, creating a complete, year-long solar calendar etched into the landscape. But this was more than a Neolithic calculator. The artifacts found here, including animal bones and evidence of feasting, point to a place of vibrant ceremony. The community likely gathered here not just to observe the solstice, but to participate in it, to implore the sun to return and ensure their survival through ritual. The sophistication of Goseck Circle forces a dramatic rethinking of prehistoric Europe. This was not a dark age of simple farmers, but a time when societies, entirely independent of cultures in Britain or the Mediterranean, were developing their own profound and precise understanding of celestial mechanics. They built a functional observatory that connected the cosmic cycle directly to the rhythm of their community, their agriculture, and their faith, proving once again that the desire to read the sky is a fundamental human impulse, one that has illuminated our path for thousands of years. A different kind of solar instrument was carved directly into the rock of New Mexico's Choco Canyon. High atop Fajada Butte, 3 massive stone slabs lean against the cliff face. For most of the year, they are simply silent monoliths, but on the summer solstice, a brilliant blade of sunlight slices through the narrow gaps between them. This beam, known as the sun dagger, strikes a spiral petroglyph carved into the rock behind them, perfectly bisecting its center with a dagger of light. During the winter solstice, 2 daggers of light appear, neatly framing the same spiral, and on the equinoxes, a single shaft of light pierces a smaller, adjacent spiral. This was not a public spectacle for crowds below, but a precise, hidden calendar for the initiated, a secret dialogue between the sun and the stone. This intimate relationship with the sky was woven into the very architecture of the canyon's great houses. The sprawling complex of Pueblo Bonito, with its vast curved wall, is aligned to a much slower, more subtle celestial cycle. Its northeastern corner points directly toward the maximum northern moonrise of the lunar minor standstill. This is an event that occurs only once every 18.6 years, when the moon reaches the very limit of its wandering path. To encode this long cycle into a building's foundation required generations of observation, a knowledge so profound it became part of the settlement's permanent skeleton. Down in the canyon, the great kiva known as Casa Rinconada reveals another layer of this cosmic design. This large, circular, subterranean chamber, a place of deep ceremony, features a single window in its thick wall. At dawn on the summer solstice, a spear of sunlight enters this opening, striking a niche directly opposite. The entire structure acts as a camera obscura, marking the year's longest day with a single, dramatic beam of light illuminating the sacred darkness within. Perhaps the most mysterious alignment of all is the Great North Road. This engineered pathway runs in a perfectly straight line for 30 miles, directly north from the canyon's central complex. It does not follow the easiest terrain, nor does it lead to any known source of water, food, or trade. Instead, its purpose seems purely cosmological. The road aligns precisely with the North Celestial Pole, the unmoving pivot point around which the entire night sky appears to turn. This was not a road for physical travel, but a spiritual highway, a symbolic connection between the human world and the axis of the universe itself. Together, these multiple alignments transformed the entire canyon into a single, integrated celestial calendar. The sun dagger marked the solstices and equinoxes, the great houses tracked the moon's long dance, and the kivas captured the sun's pivotal moments. This knowledge was essential for survival, dictating the timing for planting and harvest in a harsh desert environment. Yet it was also the foundation of their spiritual life, a constant reminder that human activity, from the grandest ceremony to the simplest meal, was a direct reflection of the cosmic order. The Puebloan people did not simply live under the sky, they lived within a conversation with it, building their world as a conscious part of its eternal rhythm. That same celestial engineering principle is perfected in Scotland's far northern Orkney Islands. There, within the massive, grass-covered mound of Micho, a 5,000-year-old passage grave captures the dying light of the winter solstice with breathtaking precision. For most of the year, the 10-meter-long entrance passage and the central chamber it leads to are shrouded in deep gloom, a silent house of the ancient dead. But for a few vital weeks surrounding the shortest day, the sun performs a final, daily miracle. As it sinks below the southwestern horizon, its last low rays shoot directly down the long stone corridor. This beam of light does not falter or fade. It travels the entire length of the passage, a distance greater than the height of a 3-story building, to strike the rear wall of the central chamber with a warm, orange glow that lasts for roughly 20 minutes before vanishing. The sophistication of this alignment is staggering. The entrance was originally sealed by a massive stone block, and it is theorized that a small, calculated gap was left at its top. This gap would have acted as a perfect filter, allowing only this one sacred sliver of light to penetrate the tomb's interior while blocking all other illumination throughout the rest of the year. The entire structure functioned like a camera with the passage as its lens, open for exposure only during this critical solar event. This was no simple marker. It was a carefully orchestrated performance of light and shadow, an event that required generations of observation to understand and the skill to engineer into tons of stone and earth. For the Neolithic Orcadians living in a latitude where winter darkness dominates life for months on end, the winter solstice was not an abstract astronomical event. It was the turning point, the moment when the sun's long retreat was finally, miraculously halted. To have this promise of the sun's return physically demonstrated within their most sacred tomb connected the cycle of death directly to the guarantee of rebirth. Machu was not an isolated monument. It formed the heart of a vast ritual landscape, its alignment to the solstice sunset deliberately mirrored by the nearby stones of Stennis and the Barnhouse stone. These structures spoke to each other across the landscape, creating a unified cosmic diagram where every stone and mound reinforced a single, powerful message. In this northern world where the sun was a fleeting and precious resource, they built an architecture of hope, a permanent contract with the heavens that promised the light would always find its way back. This principle of a city built as a mirror to the cosmos finds one of its most perfect expressions at Teotihuacan. The very grid of this ancient metropolis, laid out in the Valley of Mexico over 2,000 years ago, was a deliberate map of the universe. Its central axis, the Grand Street of the Dead, does not run directly north-south as you might expect. Instead, it is offset by 15.5 degrees east of true north. This was not a surveying error, but a foundational choice shared by the city's major monuments, an alignment that many researchers believe pointed toward the dramatic heliacal rising of the Pleiades star cluster. This celestial event, when the star group first becomes visible in the dawn sky after a period of invisibility, was a herald of the rainy season and a moment of profound significance across Mesoamerica. The city's builders were orienting their entire world to a specific, recurring signal from the heavens. This cosmic choreography extends to the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest structures of the ancient world. Its western face is precisely aligned to capture the setting sun on August 12th and 13th. These dates did not just mark a seasonal change, they were the veritable New Year's Day of the Mesoamerican world, the point that initiated the Great Maya long count calendar. A city's largest pyramid was therefore a permanent stone declaration of the first day of cosmic time. Across the city, the Pyramid of the Moon completes this celestial trinity. Its placement was masterfully chosen not only for its astronomical alignments but also for its terrestrial harmony. It frames the sacred Cerro Gordo mountain, a place believed to be the source of water and life, creating a powerful axis mundi where the earthly and the heavenly met. The mountain itself was seen as a manifestation of the great goddess, and the pyramid's platforms were designed to mirror the mountain's silhouette, physically replicating the sacred landscape in built form. The most astonishing revelation, however, comes from modern technology. Recent LiDAR scans that can see through vegetation and soil have shown that this celestial order was not reserved for gods and kings. Even the smallest residential compounds, the apartments of the city's common citizens, were meticulously aligned to the same 15.5-degree orientation as the grand avenues and pyramids. This was a society utterly permeated by cosmic principle. From the grandest temple to the most humble home, every wall, every street, every life was oriented in concert with the universe. Teotihuacan was not just a city with astronomical alignments, it was a living, breathing model of the cosmos itself, an attempt to build heaven on earth and ensure that every aspect of human existence moved in perfect, harmonious rhythm with the divine order of the stars. While the stones of Orkney captured the sun's final promise, another Scottish site was tracking a far more subtle celestial dance. On the windswept Isle of Lewis, the Callanish stones rise from the peat like a petrified forest, their long shadows tracing patterns far more complex than a simple solar calendar. Here, the central monolith, a towering 5-meter-tall sentinel, does not stand alone. It is the heart of a cruciform design, with a long avenue of stones running north and rows extending to the south, east, and west. This unique layout was the key to decoding a deeper mystery. The entire arrangement acts as a sophisticated lunar observatory, engineered to track the moon's most extreme and rarest event. Every 18.6 years, the moon enters a phase known as the major lunar standstill. During this long cycle, it does not follow its usual path. Instead, it appears to skim along the southern horizon, a low, slow ghost of light. From the center of the circle, an observer would witness this extraordinary event unfold. The moon would seem to rise directly from a distant hill, then glide perfectly between the stones of the southern row, as if guided by an invisible hand, before disappearing behind the central monolith. This was not a brief flash of light, but a prolonged, dramatic performance staged by the stones themselves. But the builders of Callanish were not single-minded in their focus. They integrated this deep lunar knowledge with the more familiar solar cycle. The Eastern Avenue is aligned to capture the summer solstice sunrise, a brilliant counterpoint to the moon's slow dance. Other stones within the complex point toward significant stars like Capella and Altair, weaving the fixed background of the night sky into their cosmic map. This was no simple circle. It was a comprehensive celestial machine, a multi-purpose observatory built to track the sun, the moon, and the stars within a single, unified design. The attention to the complex lunar standstill cycle is what truly sets Callanish apart, tracking an event that only reaches its climax once every 18.6 years requires knowledge that must be preserved and passed down through multiple generations. It reveals a Neolithic society with not only the patience for long-term observation, but also the abstract thinking to build a permanent stone calendar for an event most people would never see twice in their lifetime. This was a civilization speaking the full language of the cosmos, fluent in both the bright, daily rhythm of the sun and the slow, mysterious whisper of the moon. Long before the pharaohs raised their pyramids, a different kind of monument was being erected in a green and fertile Sahara. At Nabta Playa, over 7,000 years ago, cattle-herding people built the world's oldest known astronomical observatory from simple stone. At its heart lies a stone circle, a compact ring of megaliths that functioned as a precise solar calendar. Key stones within this circle are aligned to the rising point of the summer solstice sun, the moment the rains would arrive to replenish their grasslands. This was a calendar of survival, a signal to move their herds to fresh pasture, but their vision extended far beyond the sun. Outside the main circle, a series of standing stones reach out across the desert floor. These are not placed at random. They appear to map the rising positions of important stars, with a particular focus on the three bright stars of Orion's belt. This was a star clock, guiding their nocturnal movements and marking the passage of the seasons long before the invention of writing. The most profound mystery, however, lies in a set of longer stone alignments that stretch for miles. These lines may have tracked the precession of the equinoxes, that slow, 26,000-year wobble in Earth's axis. To detect this imperceptibly slow drift requires not just a lifetime of observation, but the careful preservation of knowledge across hundreds of generations. How did a society of nomadic herders achieve this? Their entire existence was tied to the rhythms of the land and sky. The shifting of a star over centuries might have signaled a longer-term climate cycle, a gradual drying of their savanna that forced them to adapt or migrate. Nabta Playa was abandoned as the desert slowly reclaimed the land, but its legacy likely traveled with its people. The sophisticated astronomical concepts encoded in these stones predate the civilization of the Nile Valley by millennia, suggesting that the seeds of Egyptian cosmic knowledge, the the reverence for stars like those in Orion, were first planted here, in the mind of a cattle herder gazing at the night sky, connecting the destiny of his herd to the grand, turning wheel of the cosmos. This global tapestry of stone and sky, woven across 20 different monuments, speaks a single, universal truth. From the windswept moors of Scotland to the arid plains of Peru, ancient cultures independently arrived at the same profound conclusion, that human existence is intrinsically linked to the grand cycles of the cosmos. They looked at the same wandering planets and the same shifting sun, and with nothing but patient observation, they deciphered a celestial language. Their response was to build, to etch this knowledge into the very landscape, creating structures that functioned as both practical calendars and profound spiritual statements. The solstice sunrise at Stonehenge and the starlight shaft in the Great Pyramid, the descending serpent at Chichen Itza and the sun dagger in Choco Canyon all served a dual purpose. They told farmers precisely when to plant and when to harvest, a matter of communal survival. Yet they also answered a deeper, more enduring human need to find meaning and order in the vast, seemingly chaotic expanse of the universe. These monuments were bridges between the earthly and the divine, tools to demonstrate that human life, from the power of a king to the success of a harvest, was a reflection of a celestial order. The precision of their alignments continues to humble modern science, proving that our ancestors were not primitive, but were brilliant astronomers who passed a sophisticated understanding of time and space down through countless generations. In our own era of digital clocks and artificial light, these ancient stones stand as a powerful reminder. They call us to lift our eyes from our screens and look up at the same sky that has guided humanity for thousands of years. They are a testament to our shared ingenuity and our enduring fascination with the heavens, silent sentinels that continue to mark the eternal dance of planets and stars, inviting us to remember our own small, yet connected, place in that infinite cosmos.